I'm Nate, and you're watching Photolearningism. Gosh, it's been a long while since we've made a video together. And here we are, we're finally back. I wanted to touch back on one of my favorite recent projects, making a hologram, and how to make that come to life in KDENlive. Let's dip into it and see what we can do here. First thing you're going to want to do anytime you're trying an effect like this is really think it through, maybe draw it out, because it's important to think about all the mechanics. And I will show you what they are so you can have the benefit of planning them all out next time you want to try this. You want to get a base image of what you want to composite on, mix and match your layers, so to speak. I'm using my cell phone for this particular one, my smartphone. It has a nice feature on it where you can actually pull back the lens to 0.5 zoom. It has kind of like a widescreen effect, and I can see a lot more, and I can get my arm in the shot without getting like right in the camera's face, if you know what I mean. So that's really nice if you have that feature where you can pull wide. If your camera has a wide lens, use that. It's much easier to try this thing from your point of view type of shot. All right, so I just simply took the video trying to rough guess where I wanted to project my hologram, and I'm using my watch as the projector. That's kind of my thinking in this shot, just pretending that it turns on and then pretending that it moves with me. All right, that's base. Next shot here is the green screen piece of it, because I wanted to project something. So the green screen, you may notice, that's a lovely shot of myself. The green screen is not covering everything, and that's fine. I just need to isolate what's important, and that's my head. So you don't need a green screen necessarily to cover the entire shot, although if you have that, that's wonderful. For myself, I just had a small green screen, and this will work just fine. I'll show you how. All right. First piece is rotoscoping in this case, because I don't have a full green screen to work from, so you're kind of narrowing everything that's unimportant in the shot. You could also mitigate this by just moving the camera closer, but sometimes when you're working by yourself, you're just kind of working within a lot of limitations and constraints where you don't have that ability. So I have a lot of excess that I need to get rid of, and you can do that by using the rotoscoping effect. I'm going to turn that on, and that just helps me to draw a mask around myself and isolate that. Beginning with that, you'll notice that there's some fuzzy edges. I am using the feathering effect just because that brings it in a little closer, and that kind of helps when I'm going to do my chroma cleanup, my green screening. So you can use that feature, but you don't have to. It's the feathering passes, the number of iterations of doing feathering, and then the width that you're doing uniformly around your mask. Okay, that's rotoscoping. And then we have a few different chroma keys, and I'll explain why I have couple. I've already alluded to it. I'll turn one on. Challenge is that it doesn't always get the full range, and that'll happen if your green screen is not super evenly lit. Again, limitation of what I'm working with, but we can work with that too. So I needed to select kind of the mid-range green to start with, and I'm not really sure why this is, but the color picker does not work in this version of KDENlive. What I had to do was click on the color and then pick screen color, and then it allowed me to pick from the screen. So that's a workaround in case you're struggling with that too. I picked that, and that gave me the ability to work with the color elimination, the scale that I wanted, using the advanced version of chroma. That's another effect you can search for when you're going through your effects, add it in. So you're not going to get everything using this approach. I understand that. You can see how there's artifacts left over. So what we're going to do then is borrow the same approach. We're going to do it a couple of times to get the rest of the ranges. Same idea, pick a color that's middle of what's left, try to get as much of it as you can without getting rid of yourself. If you start using too much, if you're too aggressive with the scale, you'll start to remove parts of yourself because there's wash. There's parts of your green screen, the color that will bounce onto you. It reflects onto you. So that's why you can only go so much with your green screen. You can get around that if you move yourself further away from your green screen. If you have that ability, I did not. So you have a little bit of cleanup to do afterwards. So I went through several iterations of that to get really close. You'll still notice though how there's still just a little bit of like green haze around me. To deal with that, you can use the key spill mop-up effect. This is actually designed for that purpose, to help you overwrite, not get rid of, but really just recolor the splashing, if you will. The way that works is, again, you have to select a color, the one that's bouncing onto you, and you can do this in iterations too. You can do multiple ones if you want to. I was happy with this result. You pick the kind of color green that is splashing on, and then you can retone it, recolor it with something. I'm using the desaturation operation for that. That's what that'll do. You can continue to dekey if you want to, although it's going to take a lot more work and you're going to start removing stuff you don't want because, again, it's on you. You don't want to remove you. So I like the desaturate because it's retoning the color in this case. And you have 2 passes if you want to use them. And then likewise down here below, after your toning controls, the amounts. These correspond to those 2 operations. I have them all the way up because it's super aggressive doing it this way. I wanted to recolor them, but not remove them. So that kind of covers the isolation. Now this is where this gets really interesting, because if you noticed, my hand moves. It changes orientation, and I kind of shift around the room a little bit. You can kind of see how the perspective changes a little bit there while I'm moving with my arm. To keep pace with that, there is motion tracking built into KDENlive, and this is really, really useful. So I'm going to hop back to my base layer here for a minute, and I'm going to flip on the motion tracker. You don't want it on when you're done because it'll leave the tracking on top of whatever you have. You can see it there on the screen. What this will do is you will highlight, I'm just going to turn myself off so you can better see. You select something you want to follow. You're telling the computer, follow this pattern and trace every movement it makes and make keyframes out of every movement. Stay with it. So that's what motion tracking will do. I use just one of the default algorithms. That works fine. You can play with the other ones. They're a little bit lightweight, more lightweight and faster sometimes. What you would do is select what you want by whatever shape. You have choices and color, if that makes sense to you. And then there's an analyze button. I just have reset because I've already analyzed, but it found every movement that it made to go with that. So one thing I want to say about that is I traced it throughout the course of this clip. All I'm really looking for, though, however, are the keyframes that are going to correspond to when my hologram appears. So I had to make a hard cut here so that what's left of these keyframes I can easily borrow and move into the other clip, and I'll explain more about that in a second. All right, so that's motion tracking. It generates all those keyframes for you. When you have them, you want to click the 3 lines and you copy all keyframes to clipboard. Coming back to the thing I want to keep in sync with that, I want to use that with another effect. They're keyframes, remember. So this works very well with like a transform effect where the purpose of it is to reposition within the space. So I have that I have the positional data already set up for motion tracking. All I have to do is really bring it in. If I were to do that here, what that would look like is something like this. Click the 3 lines, import keyframes, and it's going to default to geometry. That is the overall shape of something mapped to motion. That could be useful, but really what I want is position, because that tells it, okay, whatever the position is, stay on that, not the shape of what I selected, but just the marked position of it. And then I'm going to use the offsets, the horizontal and vertical, to get that to the point where it's where I want it to be. So you can use that offset to fine tune and align it again to the position and stay with that position. So every move I make, it'll stay on that point, central position, but that is now recentered against that. All right. That is how you bring in all those keyframes and use them without having to do all the tracking yourself. So that's the transform. The rest of this is just kind of like cake. I really wanted it to look a certain way, so I added colorize. I like it blue. That's a really easy to understand thing. You just set your color. Transparency, again, another very easy thing to understand. You're just taking away some of the visibility of it. Transparency. These are all effects you can find in your effects stack when you go search for them. Fade in, again, another easy one, just fading it in so you don't see it and then you do. And then the box blur is pretty cool too. This gives you the ability to keyframe but also to do either axis, X or Y, or as they do it here, horizontal or vertical. And that just adds blur on one of those planes, which looks like this, and it has that really awesome like interrupted transmission effect. It doesn't just blur it, it actually does it just one way. So that's kind of the effect I was looking for, the kind of really futuristic blur effect on that one, and that covers everything that happens there. From there, I wanted to embellish it a little bit to kind of give it that projection look. So I did add some white splotches with a lot of transparency in them, and that's really all these other layers here are, is just adding like the white backing and splashing to it, with the exception of adding in, again, transform. And same like I just showed you, borrowing the keyframes that I created with motion tracking, so all of these things stay in sync with the central point that I've created. They all move together. Even though I'm moving and my projector, my watch is moving, it stays with that because it's mapped to it, which is really awesome. And that is how you can create this effect for yourself. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that brings you to a point where you want to try this out and play with visual effects. I like using KDENlive because it's free and open source, and it gives me this opportunity to try things that really, I don't know if it was designed to do them, but this is a way that you can get into visual effects if that really sparks your imagination. So thanks for your support, for watching, and for sticking with me. I will see you at the next video. I love y'all.